Here's how you can build your kick drum freedom underneath an eighth note groove using RhythmBot and accessing the full 16th note grid. In the previous practice ideas video, we talked about the eighth note grid. This one we're going to introduce the 16th note grid, but that introduces some issues. So if I just jump into this and I go, okay, 1 bar, let's go complexity level 5, we start to see moments like this one, where that's a lot of kick drums. If we're playing that rhythm as kick drums, it's a lot of kick drums in a row, right? That sounds like. And for now, we want to focus on grooves that are A, more realistic. We're not usually playing a bunch of 16th notes in a row, and that we can handle, right? That's tough. And we want to be able to, practice this without cramping up our calves. So what we do here, this is where we introduce the custom groupings feature. What we can do is go to your settings, then you go to, I'm going to have this actually on our way here. I'm going to have it play back as a kick drum. And then I'm going to go to complexity, custom groupings. And here I can choose what rhythmic chunks are being randomized in RhythmBot. So obviously things like 16th notes, do, 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 I'm just going to not select, right? So I've got my quarter notes, my quarter note rest, my quarter note, my eighth note, skip 16th notes. And I think I'm going to skip some of these. All right, there's 3 in a row here. No thanks. We'll do that one. And we'll do, let's say that one, and the E and the ah. And boom, because you can't put a piece next to it, so it's always going to be a double. So here we go. Let's see what happens if I now confirm. Now it's only going to use those chunks, and it's going to give me rhythms that only use those chunks. What does this groove sound like? Doom, do gat, doom, doom, do gat, do boom, do ga. Amazing. We're at 85 BPM. We've got custom groupings. We've got it playing back as a kick drum. Let's first just hear this. Again, we're practicing our kick drum freedom, but we're also practicing our rhythmic literacy and expanding our rhythmic vocabulary. What does this sound like? 1, 2, here we go. Boom, 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 boom. Doom, doom. I've got it just playing back as a kick. If I put my hands in, my kick drum. Beautiful. Next example. Ooh, 1 and 2, 3, 4, and super cool groove. This is why RhythmBot is so incredibly useful creatively. If you might be to a point in your drumming where you can play this groove, but you're probably also not likely to think of that groove out of the blue. This is a weird groove. These are some interesting placements, but it's not hard. They're just in weird places that might not come to you as your first idea, or might not come to your guitar player or your bass player or your piano player. So when they come in with some cool chords and they're playing the most common, boring rhythms of all time, and it sounds like every other song because of that, you can be like, hey, keep everything. Let's try it with this rhythm and see if it works. Here's what this sounds like. 2, I'll add the hands. Okay, so you get the idea. This one's going to be really cool too. Let's just play it. 2, here we go. Come on. Whatever hi-hat pattern you're working on lately, it's accented, if it's 16th notes, right? All of these things can work. 2, 3, 4. Right? You get the idea. Some variations you can do here. You can push up to 2 bars. Now you have a longer phrase. These are going to sound obviously like longer phrases, but they're going to sound a little bit more like complete as musical ideas, right? If you're bringing ideas to a band, a longer phrase like this might be just feel more satisfying as you're writing around it. What does it sound like? Oh, really cool groove. And again, just a reminder, if you want to hear the groove played back, you can go to sound, have it played back as a groove, pull this over to adjust your groove settings, and then you can say, I want to hear quarter notes on the hand, and see what that sounds like, and it'll play back as a full groove. Here we go. You can hear the backbeat in there. Cool. Now, you're working on this and you're starting to think, okay, some of these I'm really nailing, some of them are really hard. Right, then what you can do, right, you click Complexity Custom at the top, moves you back into your selection of your rhythmic chunks. And this is where you have to strategize for you. So if you're really struggling with, let's say, some of these last ones, E and, E, the ones that have just a 16th note rest, what you could do is really focus on them by removing other elements. Right, so now we're taking out other things and we're leaving just the ones that are hard. And now it's just going to give me boom, ka, boom, 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 boom. Now I'm really drilling what's hard for me. The other thing you can do, if it's too much, is you can turn the space knob up here at the bottom. Give me more space, right? Just quarter note rests there's going to be more of those. So if I do that, now look at what it's given me. Okay, more space in general. If I want even more space, let me click that up a little more. There we go. Now, okay, now I'm just getting a couple figures every 2 bars. So this one, if I turn the tempo up a little bit just for fun. What does this sound like? And forward again. And that's how we can customize this to target what you need. Now, next level, this is super next level, but this is great practice, and you're going to get here faster than you think. Because if you spend time with RhythmBot every day, you're going to get good at reading notation relatively quickly. What you can do then is turn on reading mode. And now it's going to give you infinite rhythms according to what you're working on, but it's going to give you sight reading. So it's always going to refresh itself as you go. Let's see how this works. Here we go. 2, 3, 4. Right, so now you can keep sight reading. You know this, and I'm going to keep saying it anyways. If you do this for 5 minutes a day, like imagine spending 6 months doing that for 5 minutes a day. You'd be the most fluent rhythmic reader of all time, right? So anyways, this is going to really change the game. And the other thing that's happening the whole time that you're doing this is you're being exposed to new melodies that you may or may not have thought of without RhythmBot. Again, there's a disconnect between our speaking vocabulary and our listening vocabulary. If you can play these, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to think of them. So we want to get to the point where we match these up as well as we can. And one way to do that is to expose yourself constantly to rhythms you can play that you're not usually thinking of, so that you start to get really familiar with them, and then you will think of them. They'll become available to you as rhythmic melodies that you can choose to play in improvisation or in a writing session or whatever, playing along with the song or whatever. All right, kick drum freedom on the 16th note grid. Happy practicing. See you in the next video.